Hello, welcome to the Mostly Yoga podcast. My name is Aaron, if you don't already know, and this is my show. Thank you for listening, as always. If you're a first-time listener of the podcast, welcome. Hello. This is a new experience for you, I'm sure. Thank you for listening. Thank you for clicking on whatever that you clicked on that made you listen to this. And if you're a long-time listener of the podcast, welcome back. As always, it's nice to create these things for people to listen to and to share my conversations with these people with you from podcast land. If you like what you hear and if you want to support this show, you can go to ko-fi.com/mostlyyoga to show your support. ko-fi.com/mostlyyoga. If you decide to donate, thank you very much. If you don't, that's fine as well, because it's all free to listen to. Episode 1 till the episode end of it, it's all free. Happy to make it, because construction. What's new in Singapore? Bang, bang. Happy to create these things, as always. Happy to share, and give me a good positive review on whatever platform that you're listening to this on. That'll really help me out. Okay. This episode is brought to you by BC FLOWSTATE. Rediscover the way you move, feel, and perform through the use of natural and authentic movements that can help you build strength, regain your mobility, and reconnect yourself to your physical practice. For more content on mobility, movement, and feats of strength, you can go to Bronson's Instagram at BC_FlowState. Just to check him out and see if he has any other upcoming animal flow workshops or mobility classes going on. Next up, something green, something spicy, something local. It's Red Dot Chili Peppers, a Singapore-based chili making person, which is my friend, it's Steph, who makes her own unique homemade cilantro chili, a secret recipe by her dad, who's a chef. So yeah, that's the lineage. So if you can't go a meal without something spicy to add some flavor into your dish, then order yourself a bottle or 2 or 3 at her IG or Facebook page at Red Dot Chili Peppers. All the links will be in the description below. So my guest today is Wendy. She's the founder and director of Yoga Seeds. She's a yoga teacher, a teacher trainer, and also the one behind Yoga Circle, which is a non-profit organization based in Singapore and dedicated to promote inclusivity in yoga, which is something that we'll dive quite a bit into later on as you listen to it. We recorded this episode at the place that we recorded it at. There was a gym downstairs, so I think in the first half an hour you might hear some thumping noises, like a boom 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 sound. That's just the people dropping the weights while they are working out, so just take note of that if you hear it. I really enjoyed I really enjoyed the episode, not today. It was recorded a couple of months ago. It took me a while to get it out. I think I recorded it in December before the new year. It was last year's project, and then it's February now, almost end of February, and Christmas, New Year, Chinese New Year, all the events, all the holidays came up. Didn't have time, got lazy, and then if you didn't already know, I tore my ACL, so that's something else to deal with. But then finally, I'm here, so I'm recording the intro and outro of this now. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, I enjoyed talking with her. She's very wise. She's very friendly to talk to. It's really nice to hear her story, and it's nice to hear that she is someone who has dedicated like a good part of her life to helping others and creating all these platforms and these organizations and like Pay What You Wish and all these little events to help out people who are less fortunate, as well as to help out the yogis in Singapore's yoga community. So I'm very honored to have her on. I hope you enjoyed this episode. I'll just leave you to it to hear for yourself. without further ado, here is Wendy. Enjoy. Okay, it's recording. Hello, Wendy. Thank you for... I feel like I always open up my podcast by thanking the guests for inviting me to their place. But especially so today because we're in a very special place where this a guitar showroom / music studio place that's very nice to record. So here we are. Thank you for inviting me here.
Oh, most welcome.
Couple of reasons why I'm excited to talk to you today. Number one, because you're a very experienced yoga teacher. You've been teaching for a long time. You've been conducting a lot of workshops and teacher trainings for very long. And also because you are quite involved in all these fundraising, volunteering events related to yoga as well. And I don't think that a lot of people still do it, but it seems like you have established something quite... Well, we'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So these are the two things I want to talk to you about. But before we dive into that, let's, for the listeners as well, who don't know who you are, who is Wendy? Origin stories.
All right. Thanks for having me on this podcast.
It's a horrible, it's an awkward intro, but yes, continue.
It's okay. It was awesome, natural. So to the listeners out there, I'm Wendy, and if you don't know me yet, I am currently running a yoga business called Yoga Seeds. We're in Bishan Park.
The Lapanyang.
Yeah, more like everything also I do. So I've been teaching for the past 11, 12 years or so. But the studio is fairly new, about 2 or 3 years. But apart from running my business, so in a way, I'm a business owner, but I am mainly a trainer, teacher. And I'm also very passionate about yoga as a service. Because yoga should be something that we give back to and through. So that's why you were mentioning that, this volunteering fundraisers, I don't know, right from the start, I've been quite passionate about it. So for maybe some of you, if you have seen Yoga Gives Back fundraisers, or you've heard of Yoga Circle, or just random fundraisers in Singapore, you may have seen me. So I could be a familiar face or a familiar name there. Yeah.
I'm sure. How did you get into yoga?
So before yoga, I was more into meditation. Okay. So of course, usually people turn to such practices at the right time, or maybe even the not so right time, the wrong time. Divine timing. Yeah. So I was going through a rough patch in life, and then friends were constantly telling me about meditation, At first I was a bit like, that's what they always say, meditate and you'll be good. You don't know my troubles in life, I was a little bit depressive, and I was quite resistant to all these things like meditation or, even yoga.
Your friends meditated also?
I have friends, and quite a few in the Buddhist tradition. So they were very into like... Zen Buddhist mantras, and they have Dharma talks. And so I don't know why, maybe my background, my family is Buddhist, right? So there is that, I guess, there's a connection, but at the same time, there's a resistance. Because I'm not a religious person. I saw it as religion. I don't believe in one God or, one creator or one view of the world. So when the invite came in the Buddhist style of, Dharma talks and all that, I found it a bit old-fashioned, like something my mom or dad will ask me to, so I was resistant. But things happened interestingly while I was traveling on a random trip to Korea.
We talked a little bit about this, but now we're going to get into details. This is the first time I'm hearing this as well.
Yeah. So this is all way before doing yoga, So I was just traveling, trying to find something to make myself feel better. So I was getting out of Singapore, and then a girlfriend of mine, her name is April. She's not a yogi or anything, but she is the one who brought me on this path. Thanks, April. She is I would say, a K-pop fan in a way.
Okay.
So we're best friends since we were 13. And then she went on this holiday. It was a 5-day holiday. I just tagged along. She went for some concert and boy band. I think Shinhwa, like an old school one. Yeah. And I was just there, and I was randomly going around looking at Seoul and looking at the little temple stays and cultural stuff. And I found a temple stay program where the temple was a bit out of Seoul, out of the city. And I wanted to go check it out, just go take a walk in the pine forest. Imagine that, right?
So you didn't go for the concert?
No.
You just tagged
I
along.
just went.
She went to the concert and you wandered around.
Yes, and I was alone. My first trip to Seoul.
First solo trip.
Not solo, but
you,
unplanned. Nothing. Yeah. I had no program. So I just went with her, which was why things happen without you planning, right? I think the best things happen without a plan. So day by day, she goes for her activity. She had her own friends, but then we were sharing a room. I was glad to save money that way. I was on a budget trip. So, but then I went to this temple stay, and then after checking the program, I told her that I will extend my stay, because after 5 days, she had to come back. Her leave was only for 5 days, but I was taking like a long break. So I had nothing to come back to or rush to.
How old were you at this time?
Wow.
Like,
not that young lah. Maybe late
20s.
Late 20s.
And you discovered this retreat. Is it a retreat? You call it a retreat? Or is it
it's a temple stay program, they call it.
Okay, it's not a retreat. It's a serious, sounds more serious, like a temple stay. And you found this like on the first day.
I can't remember. In the middle of the trip, I think. Because we're going to a place called Insadong, and then it was walking distance to this very famous Buddhist temple. So we're sightseeing, It's like, I think it's called Jogesa or something like that. Then there were brochures.
Also, it's really just like, pick up a leaflet, like, this sounds cool, and you just signed up for it.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, So I went. And I told her, you go back Singapore first. I changed my ticket. I extended it, I think, for a few days or a week. So I went there. I liked it so much there. The place was beautiful, so much nature. It's really a typical Zen temple kind of thing. It has this amazing garden, and it was surrounded by pine forests. And there were monks there. But it was an international meditation center. So they were conducting programs in English as well. Thank goodness. I don't speak Korean. So I stayed there for a night, and I decided not to leave. So I stayed on for a few more days, and I still didn't want to leave, right? And I just stayed on, and I started to enjoy the meditation routine very much. So every morning at about 3-4 a.m. they will sound the bamboo or the tok thing, right? The mu yu, I think they call it. I can't remember. And then everybody wakes up, freshens up, go to do our meditation. They have their Buddhist chanting, and I was chanting with them in Korean. That's why I picked up the Korean sounds and alphabet. Then that was my exposure to meditation. It was
okay.
Yes.
This is such a. You've never done meditation before in your life before this.
Before this, no.
And how long were you meditating? This is like a proper retreat.
It's a proper. It's like a
vipassana kind of.
I haven't done vipassana, but I believe vipassana is mostly a silent program. The teachers tell you the technique, and then you're left to do your self practice. We have a routine, and then like basically the monks were in the front row. They do their thing as per normal in their robes and whatnot. We were also like in a uniform, given robes, not white, just like grayish, but it was nice and comfy. And everybody wearing the same stuff. Then we just follow whatever they practice, they do. Each sitting, morning we do their chanting, right? And then they'll be chanting, of course, Buddhist mantras and so on. We'll be doing prostrations. Basically, it is 108 prostrations. I don't know if you heard of a prostration.
No, I don't know what that word is.
So you start in standing. Imagine sun salutation, right? And then instead of reaching up and down and stretchy version, this one is like a more contained version. So you come onto your knees, you put your forehead to the ground, palms to the ground, you flip open your palm, Okay, it's like paying homage to, whatever that you're committing to, and then you recover, come to kneeling, stand up again. That's one prostration.
I think I've seen this on TV before.
Probably.
People doing their pilgrimage, they'll do that in temples.
They do that.
Okay.
But when I went there, that they do it every morning, 108 times. Oh, by the
How
time
long
we
does it take?
finished,
1 hour.
close to that, I
Yeah,
think.
and they're not
Close
like
to that.
rushing it. They're like
No,
mindfully
no.
like up, down.
So I guess I jumped right into the deep end, because it's not just a typical meditation where they explain and they guide you. I just soaked in everything because I had no expectations, and they see me as this foreign, weird solo Singaporean girl, and then they just let me follow them in everything we do.
How many people were there, and how many were like? Is it mostly Koreans or like one or two
I would
foreigners?
say half of them. The weekends are quite busy. We can get up to maybe 20 or 25 people, participants. But even the monks themselves, the people who stay in and are living there, it's already close to 20. So, and on weekdays, because the temple stay actually is designed for weekend visitors. So there are a lot of visitors. They could be like maybe expats working in Seoul. They go there for a weekend to
that's a
expose.
nice idea.
Yes, it's amazing. So you can go check them out. They're still running the program. The abbot monk has changed, of course. It's been more than 10 years. But the temple stay is getting better and better in terms of, I think now the website is in English. That's the option.
What are the facilities like? Just normal, humble. But,
Simple, pretty
yeah.
nice actually. A house, and then we had rooms to
Your
spend the
own
night.
rooms or dorms?
We share, so a very Korean style. We have futons that we roll out at night, and then the ladies will be sharing maybe 3 people or 2 people to one room, and it has an attached bathroom, and of course guys will be in a separate one. And then of course those who are the monks will have their own different
space,
building, different space. But for us, and then there's even like a dining area, a dining hall. There's a meditation hall. There's another hall where we do calligraphy. I'm not kidding. It's like we do the brush calligraphy, and then we do the sutra copying. It was very cultural experience for me. And without me knowing, that is mindfulness practice in its essence, because mindfulness has its roots in Buddhism, Zen Buddhist, which is being fully present with whatever you are doing and no expectations. You're not doing something for the sake of something.
Interesting. I like this definition. Right. Okay. Because nowadays there's always an agenda. Everything that you do has to have a purpose. You want to do the calligraphy because you want to sell, is it? You want to earn money or whatever the intention is. But then when you're driven by that intention, then it's a false kind of motivation already. You're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for something else. But go on, yeah, okay.
Yep. Yeah, so I guess I was at the right place at the right time.
Okay.
No expectations, that's the best. They call it in the beginner's mind, right? Yeah, because really empty. I have no expectations. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. I just follow them. And we were taught, of course, during some tea time sessions, we have consultation, chit-chat. They just serve you tea. And there were so many moments of silence. I had to get used to it. So we're just sitting around and
no phones, no
nothing.
Like
and then just drinking tea, and then
are you able? You can talk lah. It's not silent.
it's not silent. But I wasn't talking much because I don't speak Korean.
So in a way, it's like you sort of like because you got no one to talk to, then you sort of have your own silent meditation of your own.
Yes, on my own. I was just absorbing and just soaking in the whole experience. And the meditation things that they were sharing with me and teaching us, because we were all beginners, right? Lay people trying it out. And we're not so much into the whole religious and worshipping thing. We're more like exploring the practice of Buddhist meditation and the life and the whole Zen concept. In Korean, they don't call it Zen, they call it Son, S-E-O-N, Son. So because it's all translated, right? Yeah. I can give a whole lecture about that because
hey, we got time.
we got time.
Let's stick to the time.
Yeah. So interestingly, I was able to learn the techniques they were sharing, which is things like counting your breath. When you inhale, exhale, you count, and we count up to 10. And then things like, of course, the mantras. We repeat some simple mantras. And what else? We were given like in the Japanese style, I think they call it a koan, but in Korean Zen style, they call it a hwadu. It is a phrase or sometimes even a riddle or a story, and then you are given that to meditate on.
Like a haiku.
Haiku is more like a literary, like a poetry thing, whereas how do I give an example of a koan or a hwadu? The hwadu that was given to me and my group that were practicing the meditation was that it was a story. Of course, that someone had to, in Korean, I think is yonhwa miso. It's a bit like chengyu, like a Chinese 4 words, and then it's condensing the whole story. Basically, it's the story of Buddha giving a teaching at his space to his disciples, but that day he didn't say a single word. All he did was to hold a lotus flower in his hand. Okay, he didn't say a word that day. He was holding a lotus flower in his hand, and one of the disciples smiled. That's it. So I was given that story, the thing, and I was told to meditate on it. That was part of a program. I think it was like out of the 5 weeks I was there was a 9-day program that I was part of. So that was my hwadu. I had to focus on that. Yeah.
So what was the so what does it mean? So like what was the, like, so they gave you this hwadu for you to sit and to think of your own morals or understanding of it, is it?
They just gave me the hwadu. They didn't tell me anything else. So, of course, before I got this hwadu, I was already taught I had to clear like the basic stuff. I could be comfortable to sit 40 to 50 minutes at one sitting. And then in between 10 minutes, we can stand up and do walking meditation, right? So, only when I have some comfort, I can do those easily. Then I was in this program and they gave me that hwadu. Yeah. So I always get the same question when I share this story. So what is it in the end? So did you figure it out? What happened? What were you supposed to do? Was there an answer? And of all these things were in my head for the first 3 days, non-stop. It was driving me berserk, actually. It was definitely not zen. It was not soothing. It is not calming. It is very, very challenging because I had to struggle for 40 to 50 minutes. You're sitting and the whole time it's in your mind, questions, answer. What is this for? Why am I here? This is nonsense. Let's get out. Stand up. All these. So I was going through all of that in my head. And there were days where it's worse and days where it's easy. Easy meaning less talk in my mind. And to share at the end where I found a bit of calm and peace and stop struggling so much, right? I realized that the hwadu itself doesn't matter. It's not supposed to have any meaning to itself. Of course, you can give meaning to it. You can attribute it to the story and the symbolism, blah, blah, blah. But it was the whole process of me focusing on one thing. And whatever happened during the process is what I was meant to experience, the struggle. And there were moments of very light. I can't even verbalize it because once I verbalize it, it is reducing it to something.
Right, you're rationalizing something that can't be rationalized.
Yes, so at one point, the rational mind, the intellectual mind, because it's already so tired after days of thinking, it just gives up. It's just like, whatever. And that mental clarity and is super shook. I was just like, I feel so relaxed. I let go of this crazy thinking because I realized that it will get me nowhere.
Right. The overthinking, yeah. Okay.
Analyzing mind.
Yeah.
So without them explaining that this was supposed to be it, I had to plow through it myself, struggle through it. I could have given up. I could have, just like, this is nonsense. Let me just go back to my breathing, my counting, walk in the pine tree forest, and then drink my Korean tea, everything. Those were really enjoyable, very naturally easy practices. But when I was confronted with something that requires more effort, that's where I believe the transformation was. And my nature, the nature of my mind, I'm a thinker, right?
I mean, that's what the mind is meant to do, lah. I feel like everybody will want to think of so means what, like what is the moral, what is the meaning, how can I solve this, what is the end goal of it. But I guess because of how abstract this question sounds, and it does have a meaning, like it means nothing, but it also means anything, like and it means everything, because you can justify it or analyze it or interpret it in any way that can give you meaning in this stage of your life. But then if that phrase was given to me at a different stage of my life when I was contemplating it would be different.
Different. That's the beauty, I think, and how and why I really believe, and up till now, if I were to choose any meditation technique, I may not go to my Huadu.
Oh, sorry, though.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
It's okay, sound-wise. But the whole premise of Zen Buddhism, Zen being very simple, you're not chasing a certain endpoint, because right here, right now is the best time to be. Present moment. And when the mind is disturbed by the past or the future. It's not so much disturbed by the present. Present, very simple stuff, right? Nothing. It's very little for us to hold on to. It's just as straightforward as you're breathing here, you're sitting here, you're seeing this, you're hearing this at this moment, and done. End of story.
We worry about the things that we can't control and the things that we can't change, past and future. So if we think about how we are now, we are alive, we're breathing, we're healthy, we have everything that we need right now. Like right now, you and me sitting here, even me saying now has already been the past, but like at the present, the idea of the present, we're fine, and therefore everything is fine. But it's hard to bring us back to that moment, especially with all the distractions of the world and the clutter of the mind. So then mindfulness techniques help bring us back to that, your flow, or not your flow, your mindfulness, your present moment.
The present moment.
It's interesting how like these exercises, meditation, quiet sitting,
even yoga,
of course,
is definitely,
of course, yoga or cooking lah, calligraphy, the mantra
where you do it silently on your own, and then you commit to it, and most importantly without expectation of results or where you're supposed to be at the end, which when you're thinking about what it should be, you're worrying about the future, right? Or if you're comparing it to, I used to do it last time better, you're stuck in the past. So
just as much as you can't hold on to the bad things, you can't hold on to the good things either, because you always end up having expectations or like
judging yourself.
Last time I can do this, how come now I cannot do it? Then okay,
very cool.
So this meditation thing was, you sign up for like one day, then like, it's not
just
bad.
Stay on. They don't mind. I can just stay, because the program, the formal
just live
program,
there, run away, hide there forever. People do that, I'm sure.
I changed my ticket to an open ticket. You won't believe me. I didn't want to leave. I mean, the visa is 3 months, right? The tourist visa then 90 days. So I stayed on, and I didn't get my return ticket.
So powerful, this kind of thing.
It reached a point. The funny ending to my Korean adventure is, I think my family thought I was probably going to become a nun and just abandon everything, because
renounce the possessions.
Worldly possessions. I really seriously thought about it. I did give it serious thought when I was there, and for at least a week I was thinking about it, because if there's a time to do it, that was then, right? It was then. But then I did have moments of realization. I meditate, and I was thinking, and then one of these things that I was chatting with my teachers about, and also reading about, is about everyone has karmic imprints. I don't know. That's why we are born into this certain situation now. Like the fact that I'm female, I have this look, I speak in this way, these are my parents, I'm growing up in this culture. Why am I not elsewhere or born elsewhere, right? There is a karmic thing that is supposed to unfold. and then and there's a way that you can contribute in a good way to everything else. Okay, with you don't know what it is. Okay, and there's no expectation of your impact to it, but it is a natural thing. Okay, a natural law of the universe that cause and effect. So I started to feel, I don't know why, I can't explain it, but I started to feel that I'm given this privilege of being comfortable with teaching. I was already a teacher before that. I have a healthy body. I have a pleasant disposition. Most people find me very amicable, approachable. And then I just realized that I should be doing something positive with this instead of just going into a reclusive practice of just focusing on myself, because that's what there's thunder gonna be a storm.
Cozy.
Because that's what people who choose to dedicate their lives to practice is for. Their journey is now inward. They go inward in a way that they abandon their identity and their roles and the things that have been given, and they start from zero, right? I wasn't ready to do that. I felt that I do have some precious gifts or whatnot, attributes that I just have and must do something good with them to give back. And all in all, I'm still very attached to my family lah. Okay, I'm human. I didn't want to like change my name and then not be my parents' daughter anymore, and then like
I mean, it's a huge step to let go of, like, I don't know how like religious folk do that, where they just renounce or just like I'm not Tom or Mary anymore. I'm now a new person, a new name. Shave my head, change your clothes. Everything is now you're just a completely different person. But in that it's a liberation, you know, of yourself, your identity, your ego. But I don't like. We are still human. An ego is a part of that humanity. And it's interesting how when you talked about it, or through your contemplations, you realize that like you have these qualities with yourself, and instead of thinking like feeding the ego side of it, I'm so good at teaching, blah blah. You're thinking outwards. You're thinking about others instead. Like, what can I do? How can I use these abilities to then pay it forward, or to how should I say it, like fulfill the karmic intention that the universe has set for you, and you through the days and the weeks of meditation at that temple, maybe it brought you a little bit closer to that intention, and then you found it, and then you're like, now I know what you must do. Your Dharma was revealed.
Yeah, nice, right?
okay.
Like, because at that point of time, I was mentioning I was going through a very rough patch in my life, right? And it was a very low period. My closer friends would know, you know, and I'm very open to sharing it now, because I think it's quite common around that age, and around, I would say, late 20s, where you start to question your life. I didn't really feel like I was in a space that I was happy and at peace with. So I was actually depressed, like clinically depressed, even on medication, you know. I had a lifestyle where I was drinking a lot, smoking, not sleeping, you know, poor diet. And of course, things just got worse and worse, right? That's your body's way of telling you something is wrong. Yeah, if something is wrong in your life's choices, your lifestyle, something you're stuck in and you are not moving away from it, your body, I guess, has this way of protecting yourself. I just read this article recently that depression actually can be seen as a way of a protection mechanism. It
can manifest in a physical way as well sometimes, Like if your body feels tired, like when people feel depressed, they feel tired because like don't go and do the thing that's dangerous. So feel tired and just stay home and stay safe.
So the question for me at the lowest point was, what is this for? You know, I have all this, and I know what's going to happen next, you know. After you get married, you have kids, and then you get a good job, and you buy a house, you buy a bigger house, and then you go on and on. I was very depressed by that life in my head, right?
Like,
then,
what's more? Like,
what's more?
It just can't be this.
I felt like there's something more. And of course that depressive state broke me, right? That's why I took time off of work and whatever I was doing.
What were you doing before?
I used to still teach, but I was teaching in my own tuition school. I used to run a tuition school with my sister. I was doing it for quite a few years. So in an academic setting, not very pleasant, because you see kids facing PSLE, O levels, and I have to coach them. I was teaching English and I had to coach them for the sake of an exam. It was highly stressful and a little bit heartbreaking at times, because I feel that it's too much pressure for the kids. But yeah, so that kind of money was good. Of course, education in Singapore, you can't beat it. But it was kind of depressive, whatever I was doing. So escaping, going on my travels, bumping into this Zen meditation thing. And then eventually me starting to realize that I'm a natural teacher in a way, right? I've always been teaching. And so why don't I think about what I want to teach or what I can share and help others? So, and to me, it's like if this can be something I look out for, that's some positivity in life, I can carry on living. If not, I was at the point where I don't really want to wake up in the morning.
Found a new calling, a new motivation to do the things.
I didn't know what will be in store for me, but at least I felt that I broke out of my downward spiral thinking of nothing matters, blah blah blah.
Nihilistic views.
Right? Yeah.
We're all gonna die. Why even try?
Yeah. So this meditation experience opened up my thinking in a different way, more uplifting way, a higher vibe. But yeah, so at the end of 5 weeks, my mom and my sister came on a pretend trip to Seoul saying they want to travel, but I know they came to grab me home. So they came.
You were there for 5 weeks,
I was there for 5 weeks or so.
Well, they were really worried, like they were gonna go down and like drag you out of it.
Yeah, because I called home. I was broke. I even had to borrow some money from my dad and say that, can you transfer this money? Because I need to top up like $600, change my ticket to an open ticket. I can do visa runs, from Korea. I can go Taiwan or Japan. I can come back in again. I don't want to come back yet. So I think they panicked.
And they knew you were doing the meditation thing.
They knew I was staying there, of course. So, so mom and sis came and they saw me and they realized that no, I was just having a good time. I wasn't thinking about, becoming a nun. So I tried to share with them my experiences there. And then after that, we had a short tour of Seoul and then we came back to Singapore. But before I came back, I remember we had a small chat, having tea with the monk, the abbot monk, the head monk, right? Mom and my sister was in the room. Very funny. So they were looking obviously awkward because they don't know what is happening. They thought it's like chit chat, they're talking. But I was so used to not talking during tea sessions with my teacher, the monk. So I was just there watching him make the tea, and then I could see mom and my sis exchanging glances like, "Hey, what's happening, man?" But in the end, he spoke very basic English. And then I think one of the last things is like, don't stay here anymore. Go home, Wendy. Go home and do yoga.
Whoa.
I'm not kidding you.
That doesn't get any more obvious than that.
He said, Wendy, go home, do yoga. Go back. So I did. Before that, I had been to yoga classes, buying some Groupon thing, tried it here and there. It was nice. Because I used to dance, so physically I enjoy the movements anyway, the mindful movements. But I never thought of it. I never thought much of it. It felt like what a retired dancer would do, go join a yoga class because I busted my knee. But then my teacher say, go home, go do yoga. You're like, okay.
What do you looking back on it now? Why do you think why do you think he said that? It seemed so random. Were y'all doing yoga in the
no
right?
yoga, nothing.
He could have said anything when they go home and be a baker or whatever. He could have said anything, but he said that. It seemed
he said yoga.
Like it was bestowed, Like he put the sword on your shoulder. Okay, go home and do this.
I actually don't know too. Sometimes I doubt my memory. did Shifu really say that? Did he really say that?
But that
to
was
me?
your reality at that point. He could have said like whatever sounds like yoga poga
Yeah,
or
or I don't know.
maybe he said something in Korean.
But I did, yeah. So when I came back, I took his advice, and then I signed up for more yoga practice. I already had a studio I really liked anyway. It was a boutique studio. Now it's no longer around, but it was a Japanese studio actually, Japanese and English kind of language medium. So I went there and I started practicing, did my first teacher training with them. Then things just changed. I realized why my teacher in Korea told me to do yoga. It improved my health. When I was in Korea, I was very underweight. I don't sleep well. I have gastric issues, My lifestyle, everything was really horrible. And I got some routine there when I was staying in the temple, but still, my appetite, everything was kind of like, it's a typical thing of if you're still having anxiety or stress or a depressed state, right? So the yoga changed me. I started to sleep. Up till now, if I lie down on my bed, I assume Shavasana position, I sleep. And that was already life-changing for me. I have problems sleeping since I was a teenager.
The mind,
Yeah. And then I started to eat more healthily. I mean, just in general, I was eating more. Had more energy. I was a very nice person after yoga.
You see how this is starting to make sense. Like, I'm like, say you're in this bad space, you're grumpy, you're unhealthy, blah blah. Then you decide to eat healthy, and when you eat healthy, you feel better. When you feel better, you are nicer. When you're nicer, whatever, and you get to sleep better, and it just starts to get one step, and then like it trickles down already to everything. Okay.
So when people ask me why I believe in yoga, why I love yoga, how I will explain it is that yoga helped me become a better person, better health. I could sleep, and I can do everything else in life better. I could meditate better. I had less pain in my body, and my mood was better. I was just functioning at what is nice, at a nice level. Of course, there are still ups and downs. The body has its cycles and whatnot. But at that point of time, I started to realize that I can have control of making that change, improving my mental state, my body's, my physical state, and not dependent on medication. Like now I was prescribed Prozac. I was on Prozac. And when even Prozac is not enough, or if it's just bad habits, right? Smoking. I used to be a smoker, and yeah, just all kinds of things that you chase, like binge watching TV or whatnot, right?
Distractions
to make yourself feel better. So yoga gave me a different route, right? And then I started to see, I can do yoga and feel good. It's a natural high. You don't need drugs. You don't need to chase all these things. You get a natural high, and the body just heals itself naturally. I wasn't dependent on drugs so much, as in like painkillers or medication to sleep and so on. And that was an amazing feeling of empowerment.
Yeah. You're taking control of your physical body again.
Yes. So instead of being upset that I can't sleep again, the mind is going this way again, I could actually tap on either my meditation practices, or sometimes meditation don't work because it's hard to stay still, or my back hurts, or my knee hurts, my neck is tight, whatnot. Then I just bust out a few sun salutations, do my asana practice, lie in shavasana, and immediately I feel better. This sounds like an advertisement already, for yoga. Take yoga, join yoga.
But it's true. Like, you ask any yogi, or you ask, this is a very simple way of like explaining what the benefits of yoga can do to the body. What it calms you, it helps you focus, and through the movements, it does help you sleep because you're grounded. You're no longer cluttered with the past or the future, the thoughts running in your head. And when that is settled, then you can sleep better. It makes sense. It's like science.
Yeah, it is. It is an equation, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, if your equation balances out, then very nice. If something doesn't balance, there's always a struggle. There's always conflict. I mean, everything
There's
strives for harmony.
resistance,
Yeah,
there
there's
was
resistance.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, I always think of things the other way also. I've also people who think too much that only yoga is, good for you and you have to do it every day. Otherwise, people will be upset. I miss my yoga. During circuit breaker, people will be like, I can't do my yoga, I'm stuck at home. I miss my yoga teacher. I miss the shala. I miss things like that. And it shouldn't be a source of extra stress and anxiety because non-attachment, right?
I was about to.
Yeah,
there we go,
non-attachment. I really love my yoga. I'm very committed to this practice and my role as a teacher to share. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to change my whole lifestyle. Every day I wake up at 4 a.m. and I do it. If not, I will feel like I'm missing something. Then it's no difference from addiction.
Right.
There's no difference from addiction. So as much as we as yoga teachers share that, yes, yoga is very good, I also want people to also know, respect yourself. The best way is the middle way. This is from like a Buddhist philosophy, right? Moderate.
Balance.
Yeah, balance. Do the yoga as you need. You feel good enough. Don't always think that you must do it at the same way. Eat what you like to eat. You don't have to be like pure vegan, raw food. If people are into it, great. That's their lifestyle. Don't feel pressurized. If it's not your thing, don't be. If you still like your glass of wine and beers, I am still a big fan of Guinness and beers. So I will enjoy my drink, but I know that I'm not there as a form of escape from my sufferings. I'm there through as an enjoyment, with my friends, or just enjoying the taste of it. You can continue to enjoy your coffee, your chocolates, everything in life. Yoga helps you enjoy life better. It shouldn't stop you from whatever else you enjoy. So I just wanted to put it out there so that, yes, yoga is great, but also you got to see the bigger picture.
Anything done out of moderation has a tendency to be bad for you. You can eat vegetables every day and still be unhealthy. You can do yoga every day and suddenly hurt yourself because you're doing it like 5 classes a day, that kind of thing.
Overdoing.
Just like how you can keep eating ice cream and feel sick, you can keep doing something good and feel like people go to the gym twice a day for a month. You're gonna hurt yourself. It doesn't make sense. So it's not like, wow, you work out every day, you're gonna be healthier. You're just gonna hurt yourself if you don't give time to rest. So that makes sense. The non-attachment also makes sense.
Yes,
Non-attachment to, say, if we're focusing on asanas, to the poses of achieving the pose. Non-attachment to what you can do today, maybe you can't do tomorrow because of age, injury. You're just tired today. And if you're tired today, you can't kick up into your handstand, you're gonna beat yourself up over it, man. No what?
But people tend to, it's just the natural inclination of the mind.
Right. But then, and also about how when you say, circuit breaker, we can't do yoga anymore. But that's just the physical side of yoga. But yoga doesn't mean asana. That's just like the 3% or something, right? Yoga is everything else. Yoga is sitting quietly, is being kind, is being mindful, and all the other things that come from the practice itself. So then the asana practice is just a small segment of it. So even if you can't practice, you're still doing yoga.
Exactly. And the mindfulness, which is the same in yoga and in people think of meditation, yoga as separate. Same. It's the same thing.
I guess nowadays the word meditation implies sitting down under a tree, closing your eyes, or something religious.
Just like yoga implies bending over,
stretching,
handstands,
whatever,
yeah, physical. So I guess it's just the mainstream representation that they see in media. It's not a bad thing. At least they see it. I try to think of it positively, right? Okay. At least now, people who are successful still think about meditation and they respect meditation, mindfulness as something that's good for them. Previously, they would just think it's religious stuff and they diss it, right? But of course, from the first impression they get through media, their representation, then it is, I feel like it is my job, our job as yoga teachers, to bring them a little bit further. Yeah. At the first glance, they won't be bothered about, what this whole thing is about. Yeah, they just want to move. They just want to feel good. Everyone wants to feel good.
The best way and the most easiest way to get someone into that state.
Yes.
Like you just you move, you feel the sweat, you feel the glow at the end of the class. You feel like, I can sleep better. How come? It must be the yoga class. Why?
Yes.
And then, as long as you can give them that, they may not be aware of what the effect it's actually having on the body and the mind. But then, as long as they keep coming back, then more is exposed to them. Oh, there's what yama. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Then they start to understand it a little bit more. And then once you give them that, then they can carry that with them off the mat already. Power of yoga.
Yeah, and we have to be patient, I have to say. Coming into this yoga teaching in general, you have to teach to the student according to the student's needs.
Okay.
I've been teaching for quite a while. Plus, I used to teach language, right, before yoga and whatnot. So every student learns differently, and every day there's only that much you can present. And if that day is not a good day, don't teach. Not teaching is actually better, because it could backfire. So, How did we get into this? We're talking about yoga and teachers,
Not teaching, not quote unquote, not teaching in itself is a lesson already.
Yes.
Right? The lesson to slow down, the lesson to breathe, the lesson to
give them
take
space.
a step back. Yeah.
Give them space.
It's the whole like going to the gym every day again, like you need the rest
Recovery,
day. You need
the
the recovery.
rest day. And as a teacher, whatever you share with them, they also need time to digest. And if it doesn't match, the condition that day or what they're ready for, it's fine. We let it go. Non-attachment to what should be taught, what should be learned also. Yeah.
All these things are just based on our interpretation of what is right and what is wrong. Maybe there is some tradition, there is some baseline of how certain things should be presented. Yoga does consist of certain aspects.
Yes.
8 limbs.
Yes, which we have to
blah,
respect
blah,
and honor and learn from, is important.
Yeah.
But every student
interprets it in a different way also lah.
At a different time.
Yeah.
At
That's
a different
true,
time.
True.
I could be telling certain things to my students, the same thing. Maybe like for 5 years they've been practicing with me, and I tell you the same thing every time. You don't hear it, and then on another day, another teacher tells you the exact same thing, and then they'll be like, Wendy, that day that teacher said this, and I was like, wow. I was like, it was saying the same thing. Yeah, but maybe the language or the condition at the time, her head space just wasn't primed to receive what I was sharing. But at that particular space with that teacher, at that moment, the mind was open and then it went in, and that's fine. So don't be afraid to repeat things. Repeat, just go for it, repeat, and they get it. Maybe it will take 5 years and maybe it's not even you at that moment. She probably listened to that finally because it is the 100th time.
Yeah. Like
and it's reached maturity.
Right, yeah. You probably had shared that to her like the 99th time, and then like the 100th time was the one that like enough already, then she can understand.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, quite cool.
Okay. Do you want to talk about karma yoga and about your offerings? You want to call it that? But like, let's talk about Yoga Circle.
Yeah. So I didn't realize that it leads up quite well, actually, sharing my Korea story. Not bad. That was nice. Because, my experience with Korea, the Zen meditation leading me to yoga. And then I was just saying, like, I feel that there's some way I can give back, right? There's something that I can do given what I have. And since my path was yoga, I went into yoga. Now I'm in yoga. I should give back through the yoga. So I don't even remember my first few volunteer sessions or yoga for charity. I just randomly, people invite me in, or I talk to people about it. My first few volunteer experiences, I was helping a more senior, I was junior at that time, a senior teacher, and volunteering at a girls' home, teenage girls. So that's my first venture into volunteering and karma yoga. And then it just started to unfold. Then I started to work for Yoga Gives Back as well, and as an ambassador. Yoga Gives Back is based in the States, but our projects support funds and microfinancing scholarships in India, in rural India. And I went on an amazing trip with them last December, thankfully, because I have no idea when I will ever be able to join them in India again. But that's Yoga Gives Back. And this year I've been very grounded in Singapore, right?
Oh, we all have been.
Grounded back at home. And also over the past few years, I have had different groups in Singapore reach out to me to do ad hoc sessions of specialized yoga for them. One of the groups being the amputee support group under the hospital rehab, Tan Tock Seng Hospital. And I've always been supporting Club Rainbow, BCF. So this year was that moment where I felt that, okay, I think the time is right. I should do something proper with this yoga as a giving back. And my hope is to bring it more to the local community. I'll be honest, the past few years and my journey of over the 10 years, actually, past 10 years, I'm never very much in Singapore. So when I finally got the Shala yoga seats for the past few years, then I started to stay a bit more. But I was still all over the place. The Vata.
Hey.
Vata plus Pitta somehow. So I was chasing and grabbing at anything new. But I was moving a lot. So this year being grounded, I just had this, I would say, epiphany. All my experiences working with non-profit, all my experiences teaching adaptive, specialized, customized yoga for special groups. I think a lot of teachers are out there who want some opportunities to give back. And also I was looking at my team of teachers at Yoga Seats, a few of them, and everyone is trying hard to keep it together, We're all struggling through the whole Zoom thing and, closing the Shala, loss of income or very low income. Then as we started to, just climb back only when Shala opened in July, everyone's mood was still a little bit low. Energy was low and everything was about struggling, like, everyone is heavy. Then I started to think that we can use this as a project that uplifts and bring us out. Through doing good, you feel good.
Yeah.
And through doing good, right, you start to realize that little things make people happy, and these things can make you happy too. And it just brings you out of the low state of your mood and whatnot. So I talked to a few of my instructors, the instructors I work with, and we came up with this name for our group called Yoga Circle. Okay, so Yoga Circle is a non-profit. We are incorporated in Singapore, so to make it legit and everything is clear so that we can reach out to institutions at a bigger scale. We aim to bring yoga to different populations, and these populations may otherwise be underserved in terms of yoga, right? An example will be wheelchair bound, or the groups I work with in the shelter or very low income. It can be any group, and I hope that this organization and the people that I collect, the volunteers, will be there for them to reach out to, and then we can bring the yoga to these groups.
So like the other day when we were talking about this, and then you were giving some examples of some of the classes that you guys do for people who, like, say, have disabilities or are less fortunate or whatever circumstances that they're in. I can sort of understand, like, say, okay, elderly yoga, okay, chair yoga, okay, less fortunate, or people that you want to just share the yoga to them. But then when you said about the disabilities, and then it's not just like, it's like amputees, or like even in amputees, like some with hands, or some with no hands, some with no legs, and they're all in the same group. How, as the teacher, will you facilitate that? How do you make yoga accessible to those who aren't able to access it in that way, you know? So yeah,
it's difficult.
It's challenging.
It's very challenging. Yeah. So to me, I was very, very excited because it's challenging. I'm the type who just likes to be challenged, because it makes me think and explore, and makes me also rethink my own intention and the essence of what I want to share. So I'm very, very lucky that over the past 2 years already, I had some volunteer opportunities, so I could chat with the support groups, the therapists. So I had an idea about how it can serve them, what they are looking for. And this year, very fortunately as well, I did an online training called Accessible Yoga with the teacher Jivana Heyman, so from the States. And it was an online training, right? We had Zoom meetups, we have recordings to watch, but it really opened my mind that accessible yoga is possible. You really need to put in some time and effort to think about how you want to serve them. So it's very difficult, I have to say. It's very challenging. No amount of planning will get you anywhere. You try your best to plan and manage the class, but the truth is, for myself right now, at every group, every session I'm there, I try my best to see everyone as they are and not see their disability or their condition. And when you look at someone in the eye, when you see them, regardless of how old they are, how young they are, what condition they are, they may not even speak your language. But if you address that person as a person, the connection makes a difference. And when it comes to yoga, we are not using yoga to heal them of their disability or the condition they struggle with. I'm not using yoga to change their life. I'm using yoga to connect with them. Using yoga to connect with them. And I don't know, this has a bit of like the inclusivity, right? Yoga circle is to get everyone in the circle, so no one is left out. And that's the very first step. You open enough to see someone in the eye. We are very different. We are all very different. But it's okay. Right here, right now, we're at the same place together, and you're open. First of all, you are open to your time to let me share some yoga. And I'm open to share my time and, just see what could be interesting to you. And we take it from there. The most basic thing. Can they smile at you? Can you smile at them? Can. If they are good for it, I will teach them. Yoga, we always begin with the word namaste.
Right,
namaste, a greeting. If I can take it further, namaste. I'm just greeting the light that's in you. And you're greeting the light that's in me. This is not just, like a...
It's transcending already. Yes, you're not thinking of the physical body anymore.
Yes, as a person. And what will still always be available, breathing.
Right.
Pranayama. And we don't do complicated pranayama, You don't even have to do Nadi Shodhana, right, left nostrils. I had huge plans before when I first started.
The guy has no hand.
Exactly. Exactly. Or noticing even that instruction-wise, it could be a language barrier. And I've worked with people with intellectual disabilities. They can't tell right from left. They can only mirror what you do, and you keep repeating it, and it's beautiful. They still get some, enjoyment and connection there. So it makes you go to the really simple and the really important things. So you don't have to do the same for everyone, but you find the common connection, which is we always start with namaste, eye contact, and then smile. We do breathing. We try to move the body in whichever makes sense. And week after week, they get more familiar. And then we see what happens.
This is so interesting. It's interesting on many levels because like it takes you out of the conventional classroom setting of like say when I teach a class, I don't have to think about, oh, is this guy gonna have legs or is this guy gonna have hands? Is this guy gonna know left or right? I'm just gonna the things that I worry about is more like, oh, is there any injuries? Is there any pregnant women? Is there any new beginners? These are pretty much the things that you worry about in a conventional setting.
In a public class.
Right? So then you just think, okay, yeah, arms up. And then people are just going to put their arms up. Simple as that. But
you're with a group, the arms don't go up.
Yeah, if like they're disabled or like...
Or the arms go up differently. They need a different way to get in.
Everybody's pose will be different.
Yes, and it's actually very beautiful. We have forgotten, perhaps, as a teacher, if you have always been teaching the same demographics, similar population, we are all perfectly mobile. Not perfectly, but relatively, we have control of our limbs. We can move the body as we wish. We can last through 60 minutes of movement and breathing and focus. And then when you come to a group where some are able to, some are not. Some are enjoying things differently. And it's just very humbling.
It makes you question what exactly makes the pose. Is it the shape? Yes. Is it the intention? Yes. Is it the breath? Like I mean, even I'm asking myself that now. What makes the pose a pose?
Then before we get to that question, why do you do the pose?
Why?
And not physically why. Why are you there in that space on the mat with that teacher trying to move your body into that pose? Your real, very, very core intention. Why? You want to feel good. You want to connect with the body and try something. I don't know. Open mind, right? So if you have that, then it's easier. If you I just finished an adaptive chair yoga workshop over the weekend, and every workshop, the responses I get when we talk about adaptive, the key word here is adaptive, adapt, right? What makes a pose a yoga pose? What makes a yoga class still a yoga class? If you have adapted the pose so much that it doesn't look like it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Huh? How? Be like, still legit, or have I changed it?
That's true.
Yeah, but you need to think of it. You have to find your own answer there. An ankle rotation, point your toes, flex your toes. That can be yoga, or that can be exercise, or that can be massage, or that can be therapy.
Right.
But your intention, the way you deliver it, and in the end, did they get that mindful moment? Because I was explaining to my students, my trainees who want to teach adaptive yoga, is that when you do an exercise or physio or OT or occupational therapist, they give them exercises to do. They do it for the sake of the physical movement. If you're teaching yoga, you do it for your mind to know your foot, to love your foot, and to be there with your foot.
That's like one level deeper. There's not only just move your hands and then the end. It's move your hand so you know your hand is there.
Yes.
It's move your hand so that you can be aware of it. Like not... I think I was watching this video at my TT some time ago about how you know where your arms are. You know my right hand is on my right side, my left hand is on my right side, but you don't really know it's there. Now you hold warrior 2, arms out for 5 minutes. Now you're going to feel that your arms are there. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that the pose helps remind you to bring that awareness to your arms. Now your arms are aching because it's there. So then that is that connection. So then how can you still bring that to someone who's inaccessible to their arms? But you can still do that. It's tricky, it's challenging, and it forces you again so then what is the pose? Why do we do the pose? Or even so, what makes a human being? Or I close my eyes, a human being is with 1 head, 2 legs, 2 hands. Hey, but this guy got no arms, so is he a human being? So then you gotta question yourself. You gotta dig a little bit deeper. Yes. What makes a person a person? Is it the soul? Is it the personality? Is it the contact? I see you see me, we're both present here, or whatever. So then when you can look past the physical body and you can see the true self, the true identity of the person, when you peel back all the layers, who is that person, and that essence is found in everybody. And then everybody's the same. Every living thing is the same. Every atom, every animal is all the same. We come from the same place.
You see the Purusha in, Purusha Prakriti, right? The idea there of
the oneness.
The pure, the energy. Yes. So, adaptive yoga, on the surface, the class always looks like a hot mess, Everyone is doing something, somebody's sitting, somebody could be dozing off.
Okay.
And the teacher looks like whatever you're saying, they may not be following you. It's not like you go for a more regular class in a studio where everyone knows their moves. Chaturanga, upward dog, downward dog, then they know exactly what you're doing. Here, no. There'll always be, which is quite cool actually, there'll always be waiting for you to guide them. So they're always connected with you.
Ooh, interesting. Because sometimes on my mat, I would zone out. So then, in a way, it's not. I wouldn't say it's disconnection, but it's pratyahara, right? You withdraw, but then in that withdrawal, I find myself. But then I lose connection with the people around me. It could be it could be something like that. But for those people, they have to connect with you. What's next? Is it like that or whatever? Because they're not new. They need guidance for something that I've never done before. What's your instructions for that particular thing?
So even that connection may not be something that is always accessible to them. The options for their social engagement and activities are quite limited. If they're from either you're thinking about seniors who are not so mobile, you're thinking about the people who are in the shelters, or you're thinking about physically, the movement is they have some challenge, right? So the yoga class itself gives them that social person-to-person connection, which for us may not be what we think about when we go to a yoga class. In fact, when I go to a yoga class for myself, for Wendy,
you want to be alone,
Yeah, right? I'm like, I don't want to chit-chat. I don't want to small talk. Don't look at me in my eye. Just let me practice. Thank you for guiding me. I hear your voice is cool.
Right.
And that works because we are on the opposite spectrum.
We have too much
stimulation. We wish to plug off a little bit, go inwards, and have a voice that you trust to just guide you through that hour, and that's cool. Whereas I'm seeing that when I volunteer and I go in for these sessions, right? Yes, the original intention, they're thinking something to loosen the body, to make their body feels healthier and so on. But what really makes a difference is the connection, your presence.
New is here.
Yes, and the presence, and we're here not as a doctor or a nurse to tell you must do this, you must do that, or not as the family members which already have assumed certain roles. We are just a person, one person, random person coming in, telling you to breathe, telling you to move your body, smile. I think that's quite a precious experience for them, and empowering also. After that, maybe they're familiar with the practice and the movements. On days where they don't see us, the volunteers, they can do it on their own. And that's the time where the yoga becomes more like how we, who can easily shut off, and we don't need anyone's guidance, and then we go inwards. Maybe one day they have the opportunity, and that is freedom,
Yeah.
That is freedom to practice on your own. The endpoint, not endpoint, so-called no attachment to endpoint, right? Or results. But ideally, we wish to empower people who come to learn or try out accessible adaptive yoga. Know that yoga is not exclusive. It's not that you must be this certain type of person, privileged to pay for this type of membership, wear these kind of clothes, then you can do yoga. Of course, if you can, anybody can do yoga. If you do have these challenges and make a typical yoga class inaccessible, we hope to fill that gap. We hope to come in and share the yoga, and then they will feel empowered. Oh, I can do yoga too. Yeah. So going back to like how I felt empowered when I realized, hey, yoga make me so healthy. I'm a better person in whatever I want to do. So not only do I want to share it with people who regularly come for yoga, general public, this is, I guess, taking it a step further to people that won't be coming to my studio on their own because of their restrictions or limitations. And also to give an opportunity to yoga teachers to I don't know, this is very challenging for a yoga teacher. So it is very enriching experience.
Yeah, like as much as you're empowering the practitioners, you're also empowering the teachers because this is a new playing ground. It's like I'm like when you ask me to whether I want to volunteer, I'm like I can't do this.
You want to volunteer?
How am I gonna do this? Like, how am I gonna teach someone with no arms how to do Warrior 2? Or how am I gonna do that? So then it's a different kind of space that you need to hold. It's a different kind of whatever, like a skill set, but it's still yoga. It's still yoga teaching. But then okay, what do you need to do? How does this, you're learning, you're facing a challenge. You overcome that challenge, you grow as a person, you get better, so you feel more empowered. So this is another challenge. And then not only are you empowering the practitioners, I can do this, I didn't know I can do it, but you're also empowering the teacher because, I didn't know same thing, didn't know I can do it, now I can do it.
Yeah. I didn't know I have anything to share for this group, but I do. You'll be surprised. So, yeah.
So do you provide training for teachers before they go into a space like this? Do you, what are some tips, I guess?
At the moment, everything is quite informal. We will always start by, if you're open to it, of course we'll screen, I'll chat with them, and then I'll get an idea of this phrase. My instructor friend Claudia told me, she's French, she says, like, test the temperature of the person, right? Because you have to know the person's maybe personality and what suits them. Are they better with seniors? Are they better with maybe working with a different group? Or are they maybe not that ready to work with the group? And if they are ready, usually people who step up to me and tell me they want to do it, I will have a chat. And the moment I explain a bit more and I give them the opportunity to observe and assist for a start, then they learn from there. And they can, of course, ask me questions here and there. And we try our best to provide some, I would say, guidance, because apart from yoga teaching side as a volunteer, you need to know certain things as well. Your boundaries. Your boundaries.
Right.
And non-attachment. So if I were to go in and volunteer, we are starting
force the guy to get into it.
And not just that, like some of them could be there this week and not there the next. So let's say you're talking about seniors, or you're in a hospice setting, even in shelters and prison. I remember if I was in a girls' home, and it was just a shelter, right? I had to, even hospital, I find myself saying at the end, you did great today. And if I don't see you next week, I think it will be great. But if I do see you, we practice again. Because if I don't see them, it could mean that they have been discharged from hospital. And for the shelter, they have found a new home, or they are safe to go back to their homes. And for the hospice setting, they would have passed on. And to me, you have to be mentally prepared that you cannot be attached to the students, and you're not there to cure their body or heal their body, whatnot. You're there to give them the peace of mind.
Right, just a whole space.
And to let them enjoy that calm moment. And all these things, it's not difficult to understand, but you need some time to digest it.
Yeah.
If I am inviting any of my volunteers to such settings, I will always brief them first. I'll tell them this is what to expect, to give them the reality of it. It's not all just like, I'm doing karma yoga, it's going to be amazing. It's just children smiling at me, giving me flowers. Sorry.
It's not glamorous.
It's not
in that
glamorous.
way.
It's not glamorous. In fact, it's quite you need to handle your own emotions.
Yeah, you gotta be strong. You
gotta
can't
be
go there and like, oh no, this guy so poor thing. They start crying like, what the fuck? Like, you're supposed. Yeah, it's a different kind of like.
And at the same time, if you're going to, even in the I just keep sharing these stories in the girls' home, right? Teenage homes, they will get into they will have meltdowns, they start throwing chairs at each other, and then the place will be like on a mini lockdown, and then you just have to stay still because they could potentially hurt you. And no matter how sweet they are, they ask you for favors, ask for your number, ask for money. Then you also need to know where your boundary is.
Interesting.
And there were cases where a girl, we were practicing, and then she's maybe 11 or 12, and then she says, oh, Miss Wendy, this week I'm not doing your class. I have a doctor's appointment. Yeah, I'm pregnant.
Wow. 11 years old.
That's what they told me.
Okay.
But truth that she did go for an appointment, and after that she was excused from all physical classes, right? But whatever their story is, we have to.
Oh shit! You can't be judgmental about it.
We have to just see them as they are on the mat in the yoga space. The way we see our members and students, they come. We don't know what job they have. We don't know what's their background, what their personality is. So we should have that same mindset when we are volunteering. Because if you're not prepared for it, we could be overly enthusiastic. You want to reach out and help them so much that you don't draw your boundaries. Quite interesting, right? If you think about it, volunteering, karma yoga comes in different forms and different settings. We need to do it with skill, Everything has to be done with tact,
with a bit of
with awareness,
finesse.
So I am not surprised also. For a non-profit, I have had many people step up to volunteer to help me out. I'm always grateful. I'm very grateful. And if they can only volunteer, they tell me, I have no work this month. My new job starts in a month. I can only help this month. It's okay. I can only help once a month. It's fine. I can commit every quarter. Maybe if you have a quarterly event, I'll come every 3 months. It's okay. Then the other spectrum will be people who maybe freelancers and time is good, easy for them to arrange. They say like, I can do weekly. Sure. Send me somewhere, commit weekly. Then I'll be like, sure. But if they don't need you weekly, no offense also. It's not that they don't like you. Yeah. They have other programs too. They have, huge spectrum. When you were telling me, you're thinking, which setting is it suitable for you to volunteer? You never know. We are working in a very much like word of mouth in terms of connecting with partners. So I never know who comes in asking us to create yoga classes, yoga program for them. But on hand, I know people who have already said, if something is suitable, I'm ready for it. And if people don't step up, that's fine. I don't go and like push them, especially my students, right? Tell them, you must fulfill how many hours of community service. Don't have to. Yeah. If it's the right time to do it, it will happen.
The sensitivity of this, it's like, you can't push people. You can't be like, we can only accept you if you can go commit like twice a month or something. It shuts people out because of that. And Yoga Circle, this thing that you've created, it's like, it's very, I wouldn't say informal. It's not informal. It's a formal establishment, but it's a very like the nature of it is it forces you to be flexible in that nature.
Yes,
in that
very
sense.
organic.
Yeah, organic. Yes, and like you have to like come in with an open mind, an open heart. Come in and just see like, okay, can I do this? Can you really do this? Or how much? What's your availability? Can you commit to this? No pressure, no contract, no nothing. Just like out of your own goodwill, just come and just do the thing because you have a thing that you want to share. You have a gift that you want to whatever, or you just want to reach out to people. Whatever reason you want to give back, you feel like it's just a thing that you want to do. When people do good things, it's not like, why should I do this good thing? You just want to do it. What you don't calculate like, okay, if I go and volunteer at the thing,
do I get a badge?
What will I get? What will I add to my resume? Nobody does that. So it's more of like, I'm free. I have time. I have this skill. I want to do something. what can I do? Where can I go? I have no contacts with hospitals or girls' home, boys' home. Okay, I just waste it. I'm free, but then whatever, I just not do anything. But then now, there's this, like there's an outlet. People Google like, oh, volunteer, and then yoga, and then yoga circles pops up, and then it's something like, okay, what's this? They click. Oh, it's a legit thing. They provide accessible yoga, blah blah. Hey Wendy, my name is blah blah. I'm free, blah blah, and easy, just like that.
Yes. And even in we have a program called Pay What You Wish Yoga. It's actually a project I've been running for a few years already, informally, with some instructor friends. Right, when they first started out, they're looking for a place to teach. We want to give back, but they're all fresh, so it's more like just test it out. People buy donation based kind of class, and I was sponsoring the studio rental for a while. So even that is accessible yoga, bringing yoga to people who might otherwise feel intimidated in a big studio where people are all regular members, or they are feeling that, will they pressurize me to buy a package? I'm only like in my basketball shorts and like simple thing, can I still go and do yoga? These people all have proper yoga wear.
Decked out in Dulu.
Right. So Pay What You Wish is one of our projects, and just letting people know there's such a thing, or just letting us know if you want to help out, assist in any way. And just telling people about accessible yoga, or yoga that is inclusive, about yoga circle in general. You're already helping out. You're already part of the circle. Like right now, without you knowing, you are a volunteer.
I'm in the circle.
You're in the circle. Everyone can be. It could be a good start, because we just need more people to talk about it. We need good conversations, people to think about it. Not only when it comes to yoga and inclusive yoga, in general, I think an inclusive society, in Asia, in Singapore, we don't really see these underserved, underprivileged groups. We kind of like, they are hiding, is that a bad way to call them, like they say the underbelly of society kind of thing, right?
There's not a lot of limelight shed on what's going on with these people.
Recently, it has started to get better. There were very good campaigns to tell people, and so I feel that yoga can be a good way as well. So yoga practitioners, yoga teachers start to notice that, yoga can also be a way for us to give back. It's not for us only to like specifically yoga, you must join me, do yoga, be a yogi. Not that. Instead of us going in to volunteer, either to donate money or donate your time to clean their houses, run errands, we can go in and share yoga. And that's volunteerism, right? Not having any expectation that you're going in as a yoga person. Right. You're trying to educate them on yoga. No, not that. You're there to volunteer your time. You're there to volunteer to serve them. And what you have as a skill set is yoga. Yeah. I mean, I choose to think of it that way, because then we will be able to remember our intention.
Right.
Yeah. It's not about, how many people have I managed to, fully educate, teach them sun salutation perfectly, chair sun salutation in this way, and then you have these big ideas of what you want to achieve. It's not that. It's as simple as, do you want to spend some time with people who could, benefit from some love, some attention.
Yeah.
And if you're not, I know musician friends who are singers who volunteer through performances and singing with them, right? That is their dharma, right? They are musicians, they're performers. People who go in to do art therapy, cooking, gardening, baking. I do none of those, by the way, but I do yoga. So I step in and like, I do yoga. I would like to share yoga and spend time with your community, and then give back to you. And hopefully the joy that I find in yoga, they find some joy in that too. I think that's pretty simple. Yeah, pretty straightforward. Anyone, if you have the heart to do it and you want to explore it, just come to me. Think about it. And most importantly, do tell your friends about it.
Right.
And right now I can address the listeners, right?
Yeah.
On this podcast. Yeah. I guess you're listening because you're connected to, the conversations, good conversations we've had as a yoga community. Aaron asks good questions.
Hey.
Brings us to really good reflections. So if today's topic, like this idea of inclusivity, accessible yoga, volunteerism in yoga, karma yoga, if you are curious, it sparked your interest in any way, read up on it, find out about it. And we have a small community that's growing, Yoga Circle. Just drop us a line and then find out what we do. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but somewhere, maybe we can be part of a same project somewhere or share some good vibes or ideas. Yeah, we need that. We need that, I think, in the yoga community before everybody gets too disconnected.
Right.
Like, oh, you are from this part of Singapore in this studio. You are that community.
Yeah.
Ooh, you are from that one, east side, west side, or like, different kind
The
of
tribes are,
yeah. It's good to build your own cozy community, but
don't forget the
bigger connection there, that we can do quite a lot of good things if we come together. Quite interesting that in the end I started this non-profit this year. This year was full of surprises.
That's one way to put it.
Yeah, full of surprises. So,
Okay. Well, we can wrap it up. It's a nice note to end things on. Do you have any final thoughts? Anything else to share?
Just again, an invitation to all the yogis out there, or friends of Aaron out there, friends of me, listening to this podcast. If you have an idea and you think that you can play a little part, or just drop a message, tell me that you're interested or what you think about this yoga circle, check us out on our website, yogacircle.sg, our Instagram, yogacircle.sg, our handle, and Facebook also, Yoga Circle SG, okay, SG, because our projects at the moment is a lot focusing on the local community.
Right.
Since we're all here, might as well make use of our time and energy here. No one is flying out that much anyway.
Hey.
So let's turn inwards to our local community. And of course, maybe in the future, there could be Yoga Circle in different countries. We can inspire people. They can do their own thing. But just like how Pay What You Wish was inspired by Pay What You Wish Hong Kong. My friend who ran it there.
Okay.
Then I started it here. Maybe this is just the start. This is just the beginning. Yeah. And I just thought of something. If you do check out Yoga Circle, we had this logo, right? It was designed by a friend of mine. Our color is yellow. So yellow is the color of the, I would say the sun, and also solar plexus, right? The chakra. And solar plexus, the yellow chakra, is a lot about taking action, about fire, about passion.
Yeah.
Hence, I thought of that. I mean, it came in. And if you look at my logo, maybe you have an idea. So it's a circle, but not a circle. I was a little bit like, yes.
It's like a mandala.
It's like a mandala. But if you go, I was zooming into the design, and it's made of little blocks, and they're not exactly blocks, and they're all a little bit odd in the corners, Then, of course, my designer didn't give me all of these concepts. Right. She designed it aesthetically based on the idea I gave her. I want a circle, I want the color. But when she came up with this, it took me a day. At first, I felt that, I don't know, it doesn't look like a perfect circle. But then I embraced it.
It looks like for the listeners, it looks like a circle with squares around it, but it's like forming like a sun. It looks like a sunflower.
Yeah, and even the squares are not actual perfect squares.
It's like a hexagon.
I don't know.
But it looks nice, eh? It looks like a sun.
So, I mean, I started after one night of thinking about it, whether should I accept this or reject it or take another one. I thought, this is exactly what Yoga Circle is actually. We are not out to fit into a perfect circle or even form anything perfect. And we all have our weird ass corners. We all come in different shapes. Don't expect you to fall in perfect line and perfect sync with everything and everyone in this community. But we can still be a circle.
A circle is the most organic shape of all the shapes, and it can be a circle, a small circle, a big circle, but it will still be a circle. A square,
And the circle keeps going.
yeah, and the square or
going.
rectangles, they have to be of a certain, every side, the length and the breadth must be a certain size to be that shape, but the circle doesn't have to.
Yeah, that's what I believe in. So thanks to my designer who gave me this shape, and I started to see this aspect, and I used that logo to explain, what I feel Yoga Circle can be, that it doesn't matter where you're from. And this is, I run my own studio, I have my own community, but that's Yoga Seeds, that's my school. Yoga Circle is bigger. Yoga Circle will be open to anyone who is willing to come in, be it yoga teachers, yoga practitioners, or partners who are looking to bring yoga to their community. And in this way, we are properly, a non-profit. So studios, yoga studios. It is a little bit odd for some people to think of coming to, do a charity work with me, because basically they see me as Yoga Seeds, right? The brand.
Yeah.
So other yoga studios may not see, why should I work with Wendy?
From a business point of view, okay, yeah. But from a yoga point of view, it makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And now that I have Yoga Circle, which is a very clear, non-profit driven kind of mission and project, I implore all yoga studios, yoga teachers, to maybe just check it out and see what could happen from there. Yoga Circle, collab with whoever, wherever, and taking it beyond just, the commercial setup and making things, I don't know, more like a community, more organic, and we can grow this circle. Just putting it out there.
I feel like a lot of things have been bestowed upon you, Wendy, in a very in a karmic way, like your journey with meditation, yoga, even finding Yoga Circle, even the logo itself, like here, and then but then wait a minute, it's like it's meant to be this kind of thing. So it's very interesting, and just keep whatever it is, just keep doing what you're doing, because you seem like you're on this right path. Things are just like opportunities are opening up for you.
I'll do what I can and let things unfold.
Just let
the
things
universe
keep it organic.
bring, whatever it's meant to happen.
Okay.
We'll welcome it. Just like today, I'm here on this podcast. Thanks for having me.
Last week we were just hanging out, and then here we are.
Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks for doing this with me.
Thank you.
How can people? So there's Yoga Circle SG on IG. There is Yoga Seeds on IG. And there's also your
yes, my personal IG, Wen, W-E-N, Yoga, Wen Yoga. So I share more of my personal stuff there. Sometimes I share my meditation stuff, because we don't really do meditation in Yoga Seeds Shala for program, but I'm on InsightTimer. Yes, InsightTimer app. So check out my teacher profile in InsightTimer app. I do a live stream on the app every Monday, 10 p.m. So if you want to check it out, just go through the app. Find my profile. You should be able to find my live event. I put it at 10 p.m. It's bedtime for us, but I have students from all over the world. So some of them, it's like 7 a.m. for them, some in the afternoon. So 10 p.m. seems like an inclusive timing. Everybody gets theme, that moment, a moment of mindfulness, I call it. So InsightTimer, or follow me on IG, Wen Yoga.
The InsightTimer is the same Wen Yoga also.
Just Wendy Chan.
Wendy
Look
Chan.
for me as a teacher. Search by my name.
Okay.
All
right. Well, thank you for chatting with me. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for doing this. I think that's it.
Yes. Thank you, Aaron.
Thank you, everyone listening.
Thank you.
And we're done. Thank you for listening. Everyone deserves access to the practice and the benefits of yoga, and Yoga Circle aims to create a yoga community that embraces that kind of diversity and inclusivity, so that everybody regardless of their background or physical ability, can all still benefit from the practice. And in the real world, there's no such thing as a perfect yoga body, because yoga is for everybody, and everybody is a yoga body. Sounds corny. It sounds corny when I say it. I take it back, but I mean it. It still makes sense. It's common to think that inclusion is something that has to do with integrating others into our space, but instead it starts from ourselves and our own level of awareness, our own level of openness and understanding of the subject. And the good news is that improvement in that way is easy because the improvement starts with us. So all we need to do is work on ourselves, and then it'll be easier to be sensitive to others and to be more natural operating in that inclusive way to start, if I'm making any sense. So if there's one thing to take away from this episode today, let it be that. Let it be that Yoga Circle is a thing. It exists. It's something that can benefit the Singapore yoga community, as well as the people who need it, who can't access it because of whatever reason. So if you are a yoga teacher who is interested in taking on this thing, reach out to Wendy. If you are a social worker or someone in the healthcare or medical or whatever, like if you're in touch with these people and you want to bring yoga to them and you don't know where to start, again, Yoga Circle is where to reach out to. So hopefully this podcast spreads some awareness about it, and I thank you for listening to this episode, whoever you are. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy listening to my guests, and I love sharing their stories. So I hope you enjoy it. And if you like what you hear, share it with your friends. Repost this on IG. Tag me, tag Mostly Yoga Podcast. I'll repost it. And you can also support the podcast again by donating to the Ko-fi page. All the links in the description below, as well as all of Wendy's Instagram stuff. So let me know if you have any questions. Feel free to reach out, say hi to her, pop by the studio if you want to say hi as well. I'll say hi back. That's it. Thank you for listening. Have a great day, great week, great month. See you next time. Okay, bye.